I'm jumping out of my skin excited. Medium's biggest and most impactful boost system ever is here. Wondered what it means to get boosted and what it really takes? Then you're going to love every minute of this video with a special guest. Within the last months, the publishing company Medium has made a number of changes to its recommendation system. In the initial announcement, Medium CEO Tony Stallings shared, "Our job is to boost the best ideas and best information on Medium." Medium's big bold promise is that the boost will be much more impactful than the old distribution model that was killed last summer. I tell you, the boost is real. I've collected a bunch of wow-worthy boosted stories from my followers and subs, ranging from an extra 500 views to stories that get thousands of views. See for yourself what's possible. Featured writers can now see a notification on their story stats page and in the inbox that says their story has been boosted. In fact, it is the highest level boost in the history of Medium, and that's why it's worthy of a capital B. Getting boosted means more page views, more reading time, and ultimately more money. Tony Stallings shared that there are Medium writers experiencing up to 100,000 views. But why talk about 100,000 views when most writers are just longing to cross 500 or 1,000? Good news, I haven't seen one report where a writer said he got boosted and did not see an uptick in his views. I mean, Medium is showing your story to more people than usual. That's cool. And your story doesn't quietly go into the ether. So let's talk about how you can get boosted, because this is what everybody wants to know. Am I right? Rather than figuring out on your own, I'd love to hold your hand and take you from where you are to where you want to be. All right, I have a little surprise for you today. I'm here for a little emotional boost. I have a surprise guest today who is here to share insider information about Medium's boost. Real quick, before we start with our special guest today, in the video description below, you can find a link to a checklist on how to get boosted on Medium. And now, after 2 years of writing on Medium, it finally happened. I interviewed someone from the Medium staff. Any guesses who? She's a depth of wisdom when it comes to the boost. Her name is Ariel, and she's Medium's Director of Publication Relations. For this video, I asked her a couple of questions I've collected from you, from the community. But first, let her introduce herself.
Hey there, Christina. Thank you so much for having me on to talk about Medium and the Boost Beta program. My name is Ariel Meadow Stallings, and I am Medium's Director of Publication Relations. I'm talking to you today from Seattle, Washington, and I have only been with Medium for about 6 weeks. So I am pretty fresh in this position, but I'll do my best to answer the questions that you've got.
Oh, so cool, Ariel. Thank you so much. And I guess that your position is a new one at Medium. So I'd love to know what your job as Director of Publication Relations is all about.
Yes, it is a new position. And the position is basically kind of acting as an ambassador between Medium's product and content team and all the Medium publication editors who are publishing their work using Medium's publication tools, which are a big focus of the company for 2023 and moving forward, which is why the position was created. I think there's an awareness at Medium that there are a lot of conversations that need to be happening with publishers, and that sometimes product people and developers are not in the best position to be having those conversations. So I was brought into this role because coming from a background of 15 years of full-time independent publishing, I've been running my own digital media company since 2007, and I started blogging in 2000. I've spent a lot of time in the trenches as an independent publisher, and so I have a lot of empathy for the challenges that publishers deal with, both on Medium and on any platform. Some of the challenges are just the realities of being a publisher. It comes with its unique set of rewards and roadblocks.
Wow, Ariel. So I think that a lot of people who are watching this right now, they really appreciate that you can identify with the challenges they are dealing with on a daily basis on Medium. And talking about the community, I'd love to start now with the questions I got from the community. So the first one is, what does Medium want to accomplish with the Boost program?
I think there is a big awareness that publishers using Medium are using this incredible set of skills for editing, curation, finding the amazing hidden gems written by writers who may not have large followings on Medium, and that Medium wants to be working more closely with publishers and using their editorial eye and their curational skills as part of the platform's process for getting amazing stories shared with more people. So the goal is really teaming and partnering with publication editors on Medium to help boost the stories across the platform that more people need to see.
Oh, I really love this. I love that Medium wants to partner more with publications and editors. And I know that a lot of people are wondering how many community curators there are.
There are 30 folks. Obviously, the beta is at a very, very small level. It is extremely experimental. We're learning a huge amount as we go. And so we're starting real small. The goal, my hope, especially as someone who's supporting this program, is that it eventually scales up to the place where a lot of publication editors can be using the Boost nomination tool to be getting great stories seen wider across Medium.
I'd really like that there will be a lot more publications. And the next question is about Medium's quality standards, how the curation team reviews stories that have been nominated for boosting for wider distribution.
The key issues are, is it constructive? Is it original? Is it well crafted? And does it feel memorable? And this one is key. Does the author speak from relevant experience? I think that's one, especially as we're all becoming increasingly aware of AI. I think there's a growing awareness around the overabundance of content creators who are generalists, who read a couple Wikipedia articles and can kind of barf out a story, or folks who, read a scientific study and then kind of repackage it and post about it, but aren't actually experts in their field. They don't actually have relevant experience. And so there is a real focus on ensuring that there's a sense of the human behind this story. And that's both in terms of a filter for AI, right? Not that AI can't write as a human, but we know as humans when we're reading stories, we can feel it when there is a real person behind a story. And so there's definitely a focus on wanting to make sure that stories that are distributed for boosting, that there's a real sense of how the author has relevant experience and how they're sharing their personal narrative as part of the story.
Okay, Ariel, and do you have any tips?
I really encourage everyone who's writing on Medium, whether they're aiming to be boosted or not, to read the quality standards and distribution guidance. It was updated just 6 weeks ago. I think it is probably the best way to understand the kind of content that's going to be highlighted as part of the Boost beta program, but also just the kind of content that's really valued on Medium in general.
That's super. Could you now tell us a bit about how many views stories that got accepted for a boost actually can receive?
Generally, stories that are nominated and accepted for Boost distribution receive at least 500 additional views in the first week of being boosted. And depending on how readers engage with that content, it can be a lot more than that, like hundreds of thousands of views even. We're still calibrating the way Boost works. And ultimately, even if a story is nominated for Boost and then a story is accepted for Boost and is boosted, If the story doesn't land with Medium's readers, we can give it that extra 500 views, but ultimately how people relate to the story is the most important aspect of how a story is going to spread. So we can give it a little extra boost, but ultimately readers have reader engagement has a lot to do with how the story performs. And we're still learning a lot behind the scenes. So it is not set in stone in terms of what the factors are there, but it's a lot of, those distribution standards are what we consider good, and then we launch it and boost it out across the platform and see if Medium's readers agree.
Oh, that's really interesting, because I know that some writers were boosted and disappointed, and they had expected more views and revenue. So I'd love if you could elaborate on this a bit more.
Sometimes there are posts that a Boost Beta participant that a curator will nominate and will be like, yeah, this meets our distribution standards, and we will boost it, and it doesn't land with readers, and there's maybe 500 views, and then it quietly goes its way into the ether, as content does, right? As someone who's been producing content online for 22 years, there's always a bit of mystery in terms of why certain pieces of content super land, even if they meet every piece of distribution standard and it seems like it's all perfectly aligned. Readers gonna read in the ways that they want to, and there is algorithms or not, boosting or not, there is just some mystery there. And personally, as a content creator myself, I think that's part of the fun.
Oh, I think so too. It's definitely part of the fun. I know that some more experienced top writers say that the gold rush days on Medium are over and stories are not going viral as they used to. Ariel, could you explain a bit more what has changed from 2015 to 2023?
I really hear you that people are noticing the ways in which Medium has changed. 2015 to 2023, the whole internet has changed. I mean, I know for myself that the kinds of content that I was writing 8 years ago versus the kinds of content I write now, totally different. The strategies I use to share that content, totally different. Medium's shifts and recalibrations definitely reflect that the world of digital content is always shifting. And I think those of us who get into this and are drawn to this work, that tracking the shifts has to be part of the fun, that adapting to new search algorithms on Google or new Facebook feed algorithms, that has to be part of the enjoyment of this work is, what's working today? What can I experiment with? What can I try? And certainly Medium's shifts have been a part of that. And this increased focus on Medium publication editors and really partnering with them to curate stories that can be boosted across the platform is a big part of that shift, is recognizing that publication editors are a huge asset, that are part of the Medium ecosystem, and really wanting to get their minds and expertise and ability to find hidden gems brought into the fold a little bit more. So I think it's really exciting to see, even as we can look back and be like, oh my gosh, the things that I did in 2015 don't work anymore. For me, at least, as a publisher myself, that's part of the fun, is, oh, that doesn't work anymore. What can I try? What can I try now to see what works better? So absolutely, the only constant is change. In life, in internet, and on platforms, to be sure.
Oh yeah, I think on Medium, definitely the only constant is change. So another great question was that some say the boost is like the old days of curation. How do you see the new boost system in comparison to the old days of curation?
That's not completely true, right? The participants in Boost Beta are nominating stories for Boost. Ultimately, it is still the Medium curation staff that actually boosts the stories. But what we're doing is bringing these publishers into that process. And I think, the big goal here is getting amazing stories seen by more people. And the old days of all on staff curation didn't work because we tried to do it all ourselves, and the reality is we don't have the vast breadth of knowledge that the people editing Medium publications do and the writers on Medium do. So this is a new attempt to bring the community into the curation. Now, and it's starting in this very small, experimental, very beta program where, there's duct tape and broken parts and we're like trying to get everything figured out. And the process here is slow and small because we're learning. And that includes the dev team working on the algorithms. That includes the product team figuring out how to build the tools that are going to be a part of Medium to make the experience for publishers nominating stories to be easier and built into the infrastructure. But it's a really exciting opportunity because ultimately my goal is to build a program that can scale up so that this huge range of publication editors can be involved in nominating stories to get boosted across the platform. It's really exciting.
And now publication editors can apply to become a Boost Curator. When will the next round take place and which topics are already covered?
So at this point, we're up to over 30 publication editors and curators in the Boost Beta program. There is a form where anyone who wants can express their interest. My goal as the person inviting folks who've expressed interest into the program, my goal is bringing on a broad range of publication topics as well as a broad range of publisher identities and perspectives. Representation matters, and I want to make sure that I know Medium is a platform known for great writing about technology and programming. And as someone who's coming from a background in more lifestyle-focused publishing, it's my goal to make sure that yes, tech and programming are absolutely represented in that, and some of our early publication editors and curators are focused on AI and programming and technology, but we're also bringing in art, design, literature, poetry, photography, history, feminism, women's health, fitness, running. I'm trying to go through and make sure that there's as many different corners of Medium represented as possible, because as we're testing these tools and these processes to try and build a system that scales, having all these different kinds, humor, we have a humor publication included in the Boost Beta, having all these different kinds of content represented is really important because different kinds of content are going to come with different curational challenges. And we want to make sure that we're understanding all those challenges so we can build the tools to work as well as possible. So anyone who's interested, who's currently running a publication on Medium, a publication that's actively accepting submissions from other writers, right? I know there are some people who create a publication just exclusively for their writing, which is fine. That's a totally fine way to use a publication, but it's not a fit for how we're using this program. There is a form that they can fill out to express their interest. And I'm trying to add, at this point, we're up to a little over 30 participants in the beta program. My goal is that by the time we're starting the month of May, that I will be able to double that and have an even more diverse range of publishers and publication topics represented.
Oh, that's really awesome. So last but not least, that's what everybody wants to know right now is, do you have any advice on how to get boosted on Medium in general?
Of course, this is what everybody wants to know. And, I think reading those distribution standards several times is probably a great place to start. And then I think it's really worth emphasizing that writer experience and expertise is so important. What we really want to avoid is this feeling of sort of generalized regurgitation, right? Where anybody could have written this story after, reading a couple Wikipedia articles, running some ChatGPT queries, and then bloop, there it is. I think the stories that really land, both for us on Medium who are curating the Boost nominations, but also just the stories that perform well once they're boosted, are the stories where you can really feel the humanity of the person writing the story. I think for all of us who are writers, we are looking to connect with people, right? I can say for myself that writing is often a practice that is motivated from a sense of loneliness, of wanting to reach out and find other people in the world through our writing who relate to what we're saying, who are inspired by what we're sharing, who are educated and motivated by what we've got to share. And that is an inherently vulnerable and beautiful process. And a big part of that is the humanity, the personal expertise and perspective of the person sharing the story. So yes, look at those distribution standards and really understand that the writer's experience and expertise being woven into the story, even if the story is, something a little bit more dry or technical, the writer bringing their perspectives of how they came to learn about this, how they're connecting the dots with other aspects of their life or knowledge. That human touch and the writer's experience and expertise is so much a part of both what we're encouraging Boost Beta curators to nominate, what is actually being boosted from those nominations, and then what we're seeing actually perform well across the platform once it's been boosted. So it's kind of this like magical alchemy of, what the writer shares, what the curator or boost nominator has the unique niche knowledge to recognize as valuable, what then our curation team says, yeah, we think this is going to perform well across our platform, and then that like pixie dust of what readers actually resonate with. And I think, yes, there's algorithms and machine learning and computers involved, but ultimately writing, curating, and publishing are all very human art forms. And Boost Beta, the program is to try and bring more of that human touch into the process of helping really remarkable stories get seen across the platform.
So there you have it. I hope you loved this conversation. It was such fun talking to you, Ariel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I really love how passionate you get about the Boost program. And if you have any questions, leave a comment or contact Ariel directly. She will tell you how.
If anyone has any questions that they want to talk to me about, they can find me on Mastodon. I'm at Arielist, ARIELIST, at emmy.dm on Mastodon. I'm happy to talk over the process for applying to be a Boost curator or any questions about the program. So I guess I'll see you on the internet. Thanks a bunch.
I know that often Medium's changes are a bit foggy and there are so many rumors going on. I'm super grateful Ariel came here today to share her insider information about the Boost program. Now you can stop fumbling around without really knowing what you're doing and take action. For the Boost checklist on how to get boosted or not, check out the video description below. And spoiler alert, there will be more videos about the Boost within the upcoming weeks.